no surprise. You know, MMR is only a number, but ranking is maybe a more accurate one.
When you get into the higher levels, yeah. Well, no one say higher levels. I would say more along the lines of more the elite players. Yeah, rankings a bit more accurate.
I've got this first pick Grimstroke. Now I haven't followed the competitive scene since Grimstroke's release. I have no idea how this hero ended up being. So maybe you could catch me up a little bit. Is Grimstroke a very valuable pick? Is that I mean, it was first picked here. Do you think, is this part of a specific strategy, or is this kind of par for the course this patch?
I'll put it like this. If you don't ban out Doom, and you don't ban out Grimstroke right now, I would be there you go. Boom, shaka raka.
What a call! Incredible. That was I mentioned this a little bit during the break. I kind of got into it. I found this drafting document, a strats document that Team UwU might have been consulting, and the very first page has a crude depiction of Doom, and it says, pick him and they're doomed. So looks like Kaolin monks, they really have Team UwU's number. Maybe they also got a hold of this secret document. The Doom Grimstroke, the alt combo, just kind of incapacitates two heroes right off the bat. Any fight that begins like that will be quite difficult for UwU to recover from, I think. I don't know. How do you see it playing out?
Well, they took a page out of my book by banning out an anti-mage right off the bat. You do not give Team UwU the AM if you heard or saw the last game. That is the last thing you want to do, is give them an AM. Considering that was my first time seeing Bloody Mary. Bloody Mary, holy shit. Yeah, I forgot. This is not
right?
or cursing. Who knows? These are some really interesting particular bands right now. Is the Broodmother. Even on the pro scene, you don't want to see a Broodmother because, like, oh, that can create a lot of havoc. And you know, we're seeing Team UwU do the Spirit Breaker Dazzle setup from last game. They really don't want to see that Lifestealer. They don't want to have a Viper being used against them. The Tiny is problematic for all of them. Lina, for sure, is very problematic for a Dazzle. Or a Spirit Breaker. Or any other hero that's like, hey, I got a spell that can be interrupted real fast. Take a look at the bans that you got on the Radiant side. Sorry, brain fart. You got the Pango being taken away. You got the Lich. They don't want to be pushed on. Not Lich. The Leshrac. They also banned out the Lich so they can avoid another target for Doom to Doom in terms of team fights.
Right.
Ooh. Team UwU. They took away the Juggy Jug.
No, and they went for the Chaos Knight here. That seems, again, like it's been a while since I've seen a Chaos Knight pick. I don't know. Who do you think? Do you think this is going to be their? It's got to be their hard carry. It's got to be their.
Oh, for sure. Because like, there's almost no other role that you could put the CK in this game, especially in this meta.
I'm trying to figure. Do you think they give this to one of their other players and put Bloody Mary on a hero mid, or are they gonna once more just go all in on Bloody Mary, just put him in a long lane and call it a day, wait for some time to pass, and then steamroll uphill objectives?
Looking at their draft right now as it stands, I think they are going to try to go for the long game. And Kaolin monks, if they were to go ahead and pick a hero, I wouldn't say they would necessarily pick the carry right now. But Bane's a good choice.
Right.
I would think about a late game hero that can really help against a Chaos Knight. Believe it or not, from my point of view, Void. Faceless Void.
Void.
That's what I would go with. Even with the Night Stalker there.
how, yeah, can you maybe like expand on that a bit? I like when you say Void, I immediately think, okay, so maybe Void comes in and is able to beat down the Chaos Knight in the Chronosphere before a fight really breaks out. Maybe Void is able to escape a little bit more easily from the kind of highly ganky lineup that the Team UwU is trying to bring to the table. Like walk me through this Void reasoning.
All right, you got a Dazzle that you can have a target on. Your Chronosphere basically takes away their ganking ability as long as you can get it off. Unfortunately, against a Night Stalker, it's a lot more difficult. It's a little bit easier to set it up when you have a Spirit Breaker charging you and you see it coming. The Chaos Knight isn't going to be that great if he goes ahead and riffs on you and doesn't stun you right off the bat. He riffs you and you throw up that Chrono. There is almost no way the team is able to help that Chaos Knight unless a Dazzle or the Void, not the Void, the Night Stalker is outside that bubble.
Right. And how do you feel? I think Timbersaw, maybe, if we're talking about heroes that can deal with a Chaos Knight, Timbersaw is probably quick to mind often, a lot of AoE damage, really hates on strength heroes and so on. Do you think that's going to be enough, or do you think, because I mean, it seems now like they're basically going for Team UwU. I mean, they're going for a very similar lineup to last game. They have a mid hero left to pick. They're probably going to be putting Bloody Mary, their probably best player, on the Chaos Knight. Do you think Timbersaw is going to be enough, or should they double down with for example, with Void in order to deal with the Chaos Knight's closed potential?
The Timbersaw is going to be problematic for the Dire team. For Team UwU, it's going to be problematic no matter what you look at. Because, first off, that Timber Chain is going to be... You need to prioritize him in fights if you don't want him to like create havoc. So you're going to be wasting a stun on him. Or a silence. Or at least keep Night Stalker near Timbersaw without getting him murdered. The ultimate with the... it's escaping my mind. The ultimate with the saws, those things are just going to wreak havoc on the strength heroes. And not to mention it's going to eat through the illusions of the Chaos Knight right off the bat. This is going to be nasty, nasty, nasty for Team UwU to deal with. Outside of that, you know, it's not to mention Timbersaw is actually really good paired up with the Void, because you throw those saws, you know, how, you know, it's just gonna be like, hey, try to get out of this slow now.
Yeah.
You know, in particularly, that's what I'm looking at. If I was Kaolin Monks, I would go for a Void.
Right. And what kind of last pick would you like to see for Team UwU? They're probably looking for a mid, like maybe something. I mean, do you think they just go for it, stick with Viper, like, well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of thing, or do you think they might get something exotic going?
If you go with the Viper, oh, thank you for the host, Ronnie baby. If you're going for a Viper here, I would not do it, mainly because you're just gonna go ahead and try to take away the Timbersaw, and maybe the Doom. Oh, thank you for the follow, Auto Joiner. I should probably turn off those notifications. I should probably turn off those notifications a bit, but, you know. Oh, I'm cutting out. Ooh. Hold on one second. Okay.
Hello. Nice.
Okay, he's back. Ember Spirit. Now, that wasn't a carry that I was looking at, but he is a great mid hero. But... And there's a Monkey King. Okay, so No Face was Void. So, with the lineup that the Radiant is going with, I would be very surprised if they ran Ember Spirit somewhere else. Outside of their safe lane. Because you really need him to be fed. Especially in this game. Against a Chaos Knight, it's going to be more or less important. Right. Unless, you know, your Ember Spirit's going to be a top tier mid player. Now, you're going to be probably running the Doom in the safe lane with the Grimstroke and I think maybe the Bane. because in that off lane you're going to be dealing with a Night Stalker and a Spirit Breaker. But what they can do here is go ahead, which would be the more logical laning setup, would be taking the Timbersaw, throw him in the safe lane if you're the Radiant. So you can go ahead and deal with that Spirit Breaker Night Stalker combo for the Dire's off lane. You take your Tri lane and you throw it up top to go ahead and fight the Dazzle and the Monkey King. See what kind of havoc you can raise. And then you have Ember in the middle, who is going to be taking on... Wait, why did I say Monkey King? No, it's the Chaos Knight and the Dazzle in the safe lane, and the Monkey King is going to be taking on the Ember Spirit in the middle. Why did I say Monkey King in the safe lane?
I think it's because the Bloody Mary guy is on Monkey King. It seems reasonable to expect he'd be safe lane, but it seems like they were almost baiting the Dire team or baiting the Radiant team. I mean, that's the assumption I was working on, at least, is that they'd put Bloody Mary on Chaos Knight. Maybe now they've invested a little bit, definitely with this Timbersaw pick, maybe to a lesser extent, but still with the Ember pick as well. And now they totally like this Monkey King. I don't know what the... I mean, there's always Doom, like Doom counters every hero, haha, but you have Bane. I mean, that's just general lockdown, but I don't see any specific. It's like they kind of let the last pick for the Dire go kind of unanswered, and then they picked a Bloody Mary hero, and it seems like that might end up causing some trouble for the Radiant when this rank 22 NA player starts making plays.
Yep. As you can see, the Dire team smoked up, so it really does look like we're going to have Monkey King in the middle, and he's going to be facing off with the Ember Spirit, who's just chilling up top. And as you can see, like I was predicting, there he is, the Timbersaw, all alone on bottom in the safe lane. That's how I was thinking and how I would put it up. It doesn't look like we're going to be seeing any contests for the runes. Everybody just wants to go ahead and just grab what they want, you know. Let's not go ahead and give the other team an advantage in first kills, first bloods within the first minute of the game.
Yeah, very much more relaxed start to this game here, but things are definitely going to be heating up.
Sorry guys, it's my logo. I should have done the other scene. Hold on. There we go. Yeah. Sorry about that. And there's the courier. Anyways, go ahead.
Now, who do you think? How do you think the Monkey King Ember Spirit matchup mid? I mean, it seems like
Ooh, sniped.
That's a very sneaky play from the Radiant. Yeah, the Bane. They're really just trying. It seems like they're focusing a lot of attention onto this Bloody Mary player. I think maybe that's gonna be a useful strategy, but Bloody Mary is definitely not going down without a fight here.
No, he wasn't gonna go down without a fight. First blood.
And meanwhile, first blood on the Timbersaw. That's a little unusual. I guess it's still very low level. Timbersaw wouldn't have chain, but and there's a lot of CC, I guess. They have a Chaos Knight with point and stun, obviously charging Spirit Breaker, Dazzles there.
Mm-hmm. You know, without that reactive armor, it's going to be a little bit difficult for the Timbersaw to survive. He went level 1 Whirling Death, which is pretty fine. You know, you just got to survive the first first minute or two, just so you can get to the next level.
How do you feel about getting Whirling Death level 1, though? I mean, I feel like it would be more standard, at least, to get one of the more defensive abilities of Timbersaws, especially since they're going with this, like, 1v3 setup in the lane. I feel like they probably did that deliberately, but this Timbersaw player going into that kind of situation with Whirling Death, it seems like, I don't know, I don't want to call it an oversight, but I don't know if I would have made that decision.
Let's see here. The thing is that when you take a look at the reactive armor versus Whirling Death at level 1, you're more or less thinking of, hey, what would be the best spell here when I'm facing off against some enemy heroes? And especially if you're going to be all alone, you know, it would your main inclination would be get a defensive spell. Why not go for the offensive spell and punish them for attacking you? You know, that's why, and what makes Whirling Death so interesting is that it's a pure damage spell. Not to mention the bonus damage you get for each tree that you cut down. It's just,
and against strength heroes.
Yeah, and not to mention there's 2 strength heroes in your lane, and against a Dazzle. So it makes a little bit more sense that you go ahead and grab like a Whirling Death. Because that Dazzle's Poison Touch is going to start eating away at you. That reactive armor is not going to be as effective, but but that's at the first level. It makes more sense when you get reactive. You start putting more points into reactive armor a little bit later in the game.
Right, and that seems to be the build this Timbersaw is going with now. The 1 Whirling Death still and 2 in reactive armor.
So when you're level 3, you get reactive armor. Level 4, he's most likely going to go Timber Chain. Bane, I wouldn't be surprised if he got a level 3 Nightmare, just so he can help out the Timbersaw just a little bit more. No trees there to help out with the Timbersaw down at bottom. Oh no.
And yeah, it looks like Timbersaw makes it away relatively unscathed. Spirit Breaker pretty low.
That Whirling Death, baby. It's just nasty for strength heroes, man. Oh, shoot. You know what I've been forgetting to put up? Let's put up the last hit and denies.
This reward.
Yeah, I was just looking.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm so used to just watching it all by myself. No, not much stuff going on right now. Oh, this Monkey King definitely saw him.
Yeah, that's so cheeky. I think I'm not sure. Did he get the big centaur kill?
I believe he did. You know, it's a good thing for him. Force the Ember out of the lane, like really badly, especially after that Q.
Such a cheeky play, almost. You know, like the long distance CS steal.
Not to mention the Q is so long that he went ahead and harassed the Ember Spirit, who was forced out of the lane. Oh, look at that.
Compared to last game, this is oh, I take it back. It looks like something happened. Top Grimstroke going down to the Night Stalker.
He went down to the Night Stalker, and the Spirit Breaker followed in with a charge. The Grimstroke thought he was okay because he spatted. He casted Ring Swell and was able to get away for a quick moment, but Spirit Breaker was like, nope. You there. You're stuck with me, baby.
Doom having a pretty good time, it seems, at least in terms of last hits. The clear leader, of course, the mid Monkey King, bringing up the 2nd place there. Do you think? I mean, Doom definitely gets to a point in games where he kind of takes over is a strong word, but it becomes like the fights kind of become a matter of, oh, Doom showed up. I guess we have to either leave or like 5v1 and hope for the best, because this guy has 8 million armor, like so much health. Just standing near him is killing me. All this stuff. Do you think we're going to be on track for that? Do you think it's going to be that kind of a game for Doom, or is there like who's the biggest threat for Doom on the map right now? Do you think
against him?
Yeah,
against him. Ooh, it would most likely be the CK. It would most likely be the CK. As I say, the CK is most likely the biggest threat. Nope, here we go. Here's the Night Stalker making me eat my words. I eat crow, baby! No, level 6 Night Stalker versus a level 5 Doom. There was the big difference there.
And there was a little bit of action unfolding bot as well. 3-on-1 action over the Timbersaw. Bane eventually arriving, but not before. That was the thing. Like with against 2 melee heroes and a Dazzle, Timbersaw just by existing does so much damage. Just hitting the occasional Q, timber chaining, out of harm's way. I'm not sure how the Night Stalker kill unfolded onto Doom. 4 points in Void, 2 points Hunter in the night, and it's nighttime. I can make a couple of guesses, but
yeah.
I think CK maybe is going to have a hard time getting to a position where he'll be able to challenge Doom, even though the Night Stalker is able to get these kills at this point.
Uh-oh. That Bane ran the wrong way. You know, the Bane was trying to get away, which is fine. He was going up the hill. But the second the Spirit Breaker started running towards him, I think the Bane would have been better off running towards his own tower.
Looks like Monkey King is going for... Oh, the Grimstroke is definitely going to go down swinging.
He went down swinging and did some damage, but was unable to take out that Monkey King. Man,
yeah,
that mischief. That mischief.
And of course, Monkey King's full. It looks like Ember Spirit might be next on the line. Now, this Spirit Breaker is just running around. I mean, you know, typical Spirit Breaker stuff, but it's working out pretty well. 2 to 6 right now, and it looks like Monkey King might be in trouble. A little bit of a gank here with 3-on-1 Grimstroke, Ember Spirit. Bane able to secure the kill before rotation comes out, and Dazzle and Spirit Breaker will just retreat. That's probably more along the lines of what they were going for.
See, that's what I was expecting too. All the while, what's going on? Ooh, the net worth on the Doom. Let's take a look at him real quick.
Yeah, done with his Midas.
That Midas, man. You know, that Midas. It's the overall debate throughout the years. Is Midas worth it?
You're far too intelligent to fight for.
I wonder. My understanding is that the answer largely depends on how early you get it. I mean, like a 50-minute Midas is much more obviously not worth it than a 5-minute Midas. Or it looks like Grimstroke is just going to die to high physical damage from this combo here top, and Doom might be next on the line. Doom out on the Monkey King. He's still there, just swinging with the passive, and Timbersaw coming in. Doom goes down. Timbersaw manages to escape. There's not too much. I mean, these are 3 like fairly tanky heroes, and it looks like Timbersaw maybe going back in, playing a little fast and loose with the chain. Dazzle's here as well, and Night Stalker, it's still nighttime, still flying around. Monkey King able to land a stun from a distance, but Timbersaw, you know, hard target. That's a hard nut to crack. They're just gonna take the bounty runes and escape the Radiant jungle. No retribution though, no consequences.
Oh no. That Monkey King was not happy.
Under the charge. Oh,
nice play there.
Yes. Now a lot of heroes gathered mid here. Looks like some action might be unfolding.
I don't think there's going to be a lot of action going on. I think the teams are just going to be backing off from each other after the skirmish up top. Just grab your runes, go, move on.
Yeah.
Just, you know, hang on to what you got. You know. Oh, there's some smoke action going on in the bottom portion of the map. Let's see what's going on that way, because they already pinged it out. They already drew a map. They might catch out the Ember Spirit. Nope.
Some kind of dire curve going on here.
Yeah, they routed out the map saying, let's go this way. I thought they were going to go this way, to the left. Monkey King's drawing a line. No, this way, that way.
I'm having such a hard time interpreting their drawing.
It is a little difficult at times, because like, unless you know the context of what's there, you don't know what's going to happen. But Timbersaw may be in a lot of trouble right now.
Definitely playing behind the tower as far back as possible. There are 4 heroes here. I don't think Timbersaw can hide for very long. These TPs are finally coming out. It seems like they're almost a little bit late, but Timbersaw is so tanky. Ember Spirit's in here. Timbersaw's still not going down. There he is. And now the Bloody Mary player is dead. Looks like the Dire are trying to retreat here. Ember Spirit, of course, you can't catch. You can catch whoever you want. Bane ulting down the weakened Chaos Knight, and Spirit Breaker's going to charge away. I think ultimately, even though they were a little delayed coming to Timbersaw's aid, I think that went really well for the Radiant. That was the kind of turnaround they were looking for. They
yeah,
even able to get the deny on the tower.
Nope. Wait.
Oh, now the Spirit Breaker gets caught up with mid here.
Oh no.
Don't even need to commit the Doom.
Oh no, I missed that. I'm sorry. Sorry, folks. Camera guy. Really bad. Who is this camera guy? Get rid of him. He's horrible. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's just panning around like a moron.
Yeah, how can you not keep track of every hero's movements in this Timber Saw, Ember Spirit, Spirit Breaker, Night Stalker, Monkey King game?
Hold on, you just named like how many heroes that I have to follow now? Oh,
we got
heads up,
kind of a smoke going on here. It looks like they've got the revealed Ember Spirit maybe to lure Monkey King in, and behind him is basically his entire team. We got the root on the Monkey King, but a nice stun, and this entire engagement seems to have been slowed down. There's the Grimstroke ult, and a little bit of a combo there on the Dazzle, but Night Stalker's in here. They're really trying to kill the Monkey King, but it's not happening. Meanwhile, Grimstroke and Bane are so separated, and Doom is so far up. They're just fighting all alone there, and 1v5, obviously it's not going to work at level 9. I wonder, it feels like the Ember Spirit and the Doom were almost not very mindful of their teammate. Bane and Grimstroke were so separated just by the tower, and now here comes Monkey King with a beautiful stun onto 2, and now there's no way Grimstroke gets out of that alive. Bane retreating. I think this mid tower on the Radiant team are going down. This is some fairly nice team play. They're really using each other's abilities to like extend the range of their team fighting. Monkey King can really leap around, land a stun, like in the time that stun takes to wear off, Chaos Knight can come by and Spirit Breaker can charge in. They can really maneuver around fights very well, either as a result of their picks or their play. But I mean, it's looking pretty decent.
Yeah, it looks pretty decent for the Dire right now. I mean, when they went ahead and tried to do the gank initiation on the Monkey King and everything, it would have worked out better if they waited for the Fiend's Grip, but because they smoked so early, I think the smoke would have most likely have gone away and revealed them without having the Fiend's Grip and losing their opportunity to go ahead and gank the Monkey King. You needed a little bit more lockdown for that setup right there. If they initiated maybe a little bit earlier, where the Monkey King was further up on the lane rather than back here, there was a good chance they would have been able to get him.
And
never refuse gold given.
Bane only now completed his arcane boots here, so it's and meanwhile, I mean, Doom's running around. Oh, Chaos Knight is just out of luck here, runs into 3, immediately gets gripped, all kinds of CC and damage, and that's just the end of it. The rotations, rotations coming in. Looks like Monkey King's trying to go in 1v5 here, and wow, that's just a tremendous amount of damage onto the Ember Spirit. This guy is in a lot of trouble, but it looks like they're going to be able to get it up without losing anything significant here. Chaos Knight bought back and gets the stun on the Ember Spirit here, actually. Ember Spirit dies. And it looks like Bane gets caught by the Night Stalker on the side as well.
Yeah, I mean, yikes. Just when you think the Ember Spirit's okay and he's going to get out, you know, that was a long TP right there. That really was a long TP. I don't know why it was taking so long.
That was a very long TP. Yeah.
I saw him TP. He's like, okay, he's gonna be gone in less than a second, whatever. But no, he just stood there.
Yeah, right. It seemed like the fight was over. I didn't see the Chaos Knight buyback until the stun projectile was in the air.
And then as that fight unfolded, when they grabbed the Chaos Knight and let's see here, and got him, the Doom, for unexplainable reason, went ahead and doomed the Chaos Knight when the Chaos Knight got Fiend's Gripped.
Really? I completely missed that.
I did not. I heard the Doom, and I'm just like, oh no, he just did not do that. He doomed the Chaos Knight that got Fiend's Gripped.
Extra 25 damage per second, you know, I guess it all adds up.
It really does, but like they could have used that Doom for another portion of that fight that they were in. They could have used it on the Monkey King.
Exactly, yeah. The Monkey King was ulting. That really kind of prevented the Radiant from further advancing, maybe like trying to turn the fight around on people rotating in on the Dire side. The ult was pretty nice, and I think like a Doom on the Monkey King at that time would have really ruined Monkey King's day.
It really would have. Just to let you know,
got another
auto joiner. This is my terrain, I guess. I got the terrains on shuffle, so It's not the usual. And oh, never mind. Here comes a team fight. Spirit Breaker charging in, going hello.
Grimstroke ulti on the Chaos Knight Spirit Breaker, and Doom to go with it. They got the combo off, and it looks like Bane and Grimstroke off to the side, making problems. It looks like they isolated Chaos Knight. He's doomed and trying to fight the Timbersaw. That's a bad matchup here. Meanwhile, Doom is chasing down the Dazzle, and the Dazzle is graved the Spirit Breaker, who is doomed, probably going to get out of here alive. This is an audacious TP, and there was a low chance of that working, but it would have been great if it did.
It was working for a moment.
Defense.
It was working for a moment, and up top, oh no, Ember.
Here on the Night Stalker here, and it looks like Ember Spirit just getting on the wrong side of Monkey King and Spirit Breaker charging in for the vision, but there's no way they catch him in time.
For a lesson.
Oh,
it was a nice
talk about
defense at
fortune.
the bottom tower.
Excuse me?
There was a nice defense, the Radiant bottom tower there. They were able to prevent the push. They got some kills. They didn't lose anyone. They got the Grimstroke Doom ulti combo off. A little bit of action here mid. Maybe Spirit Breaker's in a bit of trouble here. A lot of damage from the Timbersaw. Now this is really like level 13 Timbersaw against the level 8 Spirit Breaker. You really got to be careful if you're the Spirit Breaker.
And as expected, Bloody Mary is at top of the charts with his levels at 14. But he's closely contested by me and Captain Canuck with I'm not wait. Go Hiddle? Go out Hiddle. I have no idea, but man, these responses from the Radiant, they're on point, and that's what's keeping them in this game without the Dire just taking full control. It seems like it's a seesaw battle right now. It kind of feels like whoever can get that one next big team fight within the next 5 minutes is going to be taking over this game, and just, you know, they're just going to be taking it.
Yeah, there's the tipping point that these teams are soon going to be encountering, maybe.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. But the Monkey King is third in net worth. The Night Stalker and the Doom are just like going back and forth and like seeing who's going to be top.
Night Stalker picked up a Midas as well and is now working on Radiance. This is like a pretty. This isn't like a. I don't know what to call this build. It feels like almost. I don't want to say greedy. I mean, I guess I can understand it, but it feels like maybe. I guess though you don't really need to, for example, disarm anyone on the Radiant team. I don't know. Can you maybe like what do you think the reasoning behind this Radiance pickup might be now?
Okay. You got to take a look at the Doom. All right. This is why they picked up the Radiance. You take a look at how the damage is being distributed, and what's going to help against big tanky heroes. Radiance. Radiance is going to help against physical damage. Oh, and here comes a fight.
We got a lot of abilities going down. Spirit Breaker is the first to fall here. Ember Spirit is getting locked down. Doesn't look like he has a way out. He's silenced, but he manages to escape just at the nick of time. And cannot say the same for Monkey King, who buys back immediately. And he's running in. Doom falling low, but a huge amount of damage from the Timbersaw onto the Night Stalker. And it looks like Night Stalker is going to be able to get away here. Meanwhile, Monkey King, the ult is just beating down this Bane. And while the Monkey King is slept, Night Stalker just passing through the area here. It looks like this is, no, not the end of the fight. Further action for the Monkey King. And do you think he's going to be able to catch up with Ember Spirit and Timbersaw, though? I doubt it.
The reason that fight went great for the Radiant. They got a buyback out of the Monkey King, and they killed another hero, I believe, at the very beginning of that fight. But it was just
got the Spirit Breaker, yeah.
Yes, I think they got the Spirit Breaker at the beginning of the fight, and that was just an incredible team fight on both sides. The Monkey King dying right in the middle of that team fight was unfortunate, but he really needed to buy back just so they can go ahead and get that the Radiance to back off from the whole entire team, because if he did not buy back, I think that Ember and everybody else would have been super aggressive, trying to kill off the Dazzle, trying to run away. Let's see here, who else? The Chaos Knight was probably wandering around trying to help with the team fight.
It didn't seem, though, like that decisive tipping point moment that we were talking about. You know, there was a little bit of back and forth to it. They were able to take out the Doom. They lost the Monkey King and Spirit Breaker for it. Like, no convincing, like, crushing victory yet on either side here.
Yeah, it didn't feel like a tipping point fight because, at least from my perspective, from what I was reading in the game, from, like, Game Sense, I guess, the Monkey King, if he did not do that buyback, like I was stating, that would have been the tipping point. If he didn't buy back, because that the Radiant would have just gone more aggressively and tried to team wipe the whole entire team. The fact that the Monkey King went ahead and bought back, came in and helped out when he did, it stopped it from being a tipping point. But if it wasn't for that buyback, you know, it would be, we would be talking about it very differently right now.
And I think that demonstrates just how like the difference between a good buyback, like yeah, I think you're absolutely right. That buyback totally changed the way that fight was going. Maybe it allowed Night Stalker to escape, for example. He was pretty low towards the end there. I think maybe that buyback was, I mean, you know, I want to say deliberate. Of course, every buyback is deliberate, but like very, very tactical. And Timbersaw here bottom is trying to, he's up posturing 1 versus 3. It looks like on the side here, Spirit Breaker is getting caught out by Ember Spirit, and it looks like, was that Fiend's Grip used on the low health Spirit Breaker? And that was a pretty nice Monkey King ult actually. A lot of damage on Grimstroke and Bane with Night Stalker picking up the kill there. Timber Spirit and Embersaw highly mobile, probably able to get away, stopping Monkey King from catching them in any sense. Doom, though, caught off on the side. They're actually going to be able to lock him down, it seems, maybe get enough damage out, and there it is. And even Timbersaw, in fact, what a beautiful rift. That was perfect. Timbersaw's chain got completely negated, and suddenly it looks like the Dire are going to be pushing high ground off of this. They're still 3 down, or 2 by the time they get to the tower.
Yep, I mean, that was a team fight that went badly for the Radiant. It was looking good at first, and then it just, no. That Radiance was so, I wouldn't say it was like the most important thing to that team fight, but that Radiance really helped out because the burn knocking down the health regeneration on the Timbersaw, and hello, more team fight.
It looks like they're trying to, they're kind of playing footsie with it here, though. I mean, it looks like at any moment Night Stalker could die, but Ember Spirit looking like he'll pay for it with his life, and I don't know if that's a trade they're willing to make. Or maybe not. Ember Spirit managing to escape. Timbersaw coming through, a lot of blades, a lot of chains, a lot of damage here, and suddenly Night Stalker is out of the picture, Monkey King is out of the picture, Spirit Breaker goes down. Is this a full team wipe? And that's a full team wipe.
You die.
Oh my. Just as I was saying that fight might have been the tipping point for the Dire, the Radiant responded with their own team fight to go ahead and tip it back to the middle to try to put it in their favor. Like I was saying, really, man, it's just like, oh.
Repel, not only, I mean, it would have been one thing if they only managed to repel the Dire from their high ground, but they just wiped them all up. It seems like, I don't know if the Dire were hanging around for too long, or if the Radiant were just able to play to their strengths, use their mobile hero like Ember Spirit, highly mobile lockdown, Timbersaw, highly mobile damage. They seem to be willing to take the small advantage they've carved out for themselves here and not push it too much into this tower. Maybe I spoke too soon, though.
No, you good. You Gucci.
There's some controversy over here at this ward location. Things are getting spiced with Night Stalker. Doom running around. There's a grave on the Night Stalker. He's going to get away safely. Chaos Knight's going in on the Doom, activating BKB. Timbersaw, oh, but the Fiend's Grip on the Chaos Knight is completely locking him down here. Dazzle is on the side doing his best. Monkey King with the nice ult. This area is highly dangerous now for the Radiant, and it looks like, oh, Bloody Mary with balls of steel. He looks like, oh my god, he's going to escape. Just, oh no, he's not. And now Chaos Knight is suddenly all alone, 1 versus 3 against this Grimstroke Bane. Ember Spirit is just gonna roll over and die. That actually, it's hard to say who do you think got the better of that engagement there?
the team with the extra kill, which would be the the Radiant. There, they lost. The Radiant lost 2. The Dire lost 3. But it's important to point out that the person that they lost was basically Spirit Breaker, which isn't that much of a big loss. What was the big loss was CK and the Monkey King in comparison to the Doom and the Timbersaw.
Yeah, and they're gonna Night Stalker would just get caught for some reason running out on the far side of the river. Yeah, the Spirit Breaker dying, I feel, is almost expected. You know, it comes in with like the it's built into the pick almost.
Yeah, our supports don't buy forts. Oh, the little cheeky things that they say. It's interesting and intriguing. I mean, these teams are just making the right choices with their item builds. It's really coming down to who can be the better team fighters. And right now, as we speak, the Radiant, they're peaking. They're at their max, power spike in terms of team fights and everything else. So they need to take advantage of it. The Monkey King is the biggest issue, because his ult is like a zoning ult, and that's going to be very difficult. Right. Not to mention the Night Stalker with the Radiance just makes it a lot more difficult to get through. Like I was saying.
And I feel like Timbersaw and Ember Spirit are they're high mobility, but they still stay within a kind of area. If you put down the Monkey King ult, it makes it much more, because you don't want to, for example, Timber Chain into a tree that's next to 3 Monkey King statues or something. So you have to be a lot more diligent about like watching out when the Monkey King ult is down, where exactly you're going. You can't just throw out the random Timber Chain the way you might be able to if you're just playing a regular Timbersaw game. Yeah,
not to mention your Chakram will come out and help you in case you mess up, but by that point it's already too late. It looks like we have some smoke action on the Spirit Breaker. He's like, I'm gonna smoke up and look for people. Nope, can't find any.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Because the whole entire team's on the other side of the map.
Yeah.
It would have been nice if the Monkey King pointed that out, because he's like over here, just chilling in the trees. And he didn't mention that to the Spirit Breaker at all. Spirit Breaker basically wasted 100 gold. And oh my.
Do you think he'll be able to collapse it on him in time? No, definitely not.
Nope. They saw him for that one moment, and they were like, we got to kill this Monkey King. Like this team recognized the biggest threat to them right now, which is the Monkey King. Yeah, but like, you pointed out what would be the biggest threat for the Timbersaw to deal with, and I really thought it's the Chaos Knight, and it turns out it's the best player on the team for the Dire, Oh, BKBs on both the Ember Spirit and the Night Stalker. That's fun to see. Yeah. But like I was saying, with the Radiance, it just burns down that team. They could just eat through that Flame Guard for the Ember Spirit. Yeah. Out comes a smoke. I think they're going for a Roshan. I would be not necessarily making this risky play. And they didn't.
Now, do you think, because you mentioned earlier that perhaps the Radiant should try and capitalize while they're hitting their relative power spike before, maybe Chaos Knight or Monkey King build one too many items. Do you think they should be looking for pickoffs? They seem now to be maybe heading into some kind of a gank, hoping to come across someone. Like, do you think this is the right plan? Like, it seems you definitely don't want to see them keep farming, for example.
Yep. And they don't. Oh, they missed the dust. Oh gosh.
Yeah, it looks like. But Dazzle just like walking through, and here comes the Monkey King ult. Now a lot of damage coming out on the Doom and on the Ember Spirit. Dazzle with the Grave, but it's not going to be enough. Meanwhile, Spirit Breaker, of course, dies. Monkey King more significantly dies. Dazzle bought back. Bane, only the supports on the Radiant have gone down so far, and it looks like the Night Stalker is calling it as well. Chaos Knight going down finally, even though they lost Doom and their supports for it. I think the Radiant came out on top with that one.
The Radiant really did come out on top on that one, because they got rid of the CK, they got rid of the Monkey King. I mean, those BKBs, if you use a BKB you really hope that you come out of that fight the winner. Otherwise, it kind of feels like you've wasted a charge. And there's the Spirit Breaker going, hello, bye-bye. You know, that team fight was... It looked disastrous for the Radiant for a split second, and then the BKBs went off and just went, okay, game over, y'all. Game over. They just evaporated. That whole entire team fight evaporated. You know, because that Timber saw, you know, his Chakram, his Whirling Death, they were in the middle of like how many trees? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It seemed like 8 trees or more. You know, it might have been 7.
Is definitely doing a huge amount of work right now against the Dire lineup.
Yeah, that Timber chain and then hitting the Chakram at the key moments, followed up with the Whirling Death, followed up by the Chakram. That just like changed that whole entire team fight in like a split second where everybody was so low. You know, the 3 strength
Dire, how
heroes.
do you play against this kind of thing?
You invest into a Yules.
That's all.
That's my suggestion, is you invest into a Yules. You really do. Because you have a lot of stuns and control for the Timber Saw and any other hero that you're running into. You go ahead and get that Yules on and apply it to almost any other hero on that team. What is that team gonna do? What is that hero gonna do? You know, you go ahead and Yules the Bane in the middle of his Fiend's Grip. You Yules the Ember Spirit. What is he gonna do? You Yules the Timber Saw, albeit he has a Lotus Orb. You know, he can apply it to anyone on his team. You go ahead and Yules anybody else. You take one person out of the fight. Oh no! Oh no! Here comes the BKB team fight.
Looks like, yeah, the courier just opens the gates for battle here. Bane goes down almost immediately, and now Monkey King going in on the Doom. Looks like Doom is not going to make it out of this Monkey King ult alive. Spirit Breaker died somewhere. I didn't even see it happen, but it looks like now this was not the kind of engagement that the Radiant were looking for. I'd go so far as to say.
No, they were not. Because you take a look at how that fight panned out, they had the Radiant team just moving in forward, slowly but surely, right? And then like when everybody over here, then they had they evaporated because they were just setting up that gank. They saw them pushing bottom, and they're like, "Let's go ahead and take advantage of this. Let's go ahead and hit them where they least expect it." You know, which was in the middle of a push, going towards a tower. You know, you would expect the team fight at the tower.
Oh, and here, that's a sick combo with the Bane ulti and Grimstroke ulti, but will it be enough? Ember Spirit is doing some work on the side here, and I think it looks like Monkey King getting locked down, silenced, unable to make any action happen on the Timber Saw. And now Chaos Knight is running for his life. BKB is out. Maybe they'll be able to turn something around here with the help of the Dazzle, but I don't think it's going to work out the way they hope. And Dazzle may be sacrificing himself in order to get the Chaos Knight out. I think they're both going to die here.
Mm-hmm. They're both down and gone. Like, you take a look at what they did. It was amazing.
The Grimstroke ult into the Bane ult on the 2 heroes attacking the bottom melee racks was very nice. I think it really, that's the kind of, like, the ideal way to begin a team fight if you're the Radiant side. Almost, I mean, I think the Grimstroke bought back in order to defend that racks there, but I wonder if maybe the Dire were being a little too arrogant in going for the high ground push, even though they just took that really excellent fight near their own bottom tower. Maybe going all the way for base off the back of that was a little premature.
It may seem to have been premature, but when you take a look at the meta as it is right now too, whoever puts their foot on the gas pedal and doesn't let go, they're more or less likely going to win the game. And that's what they were doing. They were putting their foot on the pedal to the metal and try to win the game ASAP. Now, when you take a look at what happened and transpired on bottom, without that Grimstroke buying back, that would have been way more difficult. Because instead of taking out one hero, you took out two with the Grimstroke and his ult with the Bane ulti. Everybody needs to recognize that that was a fantastic buyback from the Grimstroke. He helped save the Rax. Both Raxes. If he didn't do that buyback, he didn't set up that ulti and that double Fiend's Grip, we're talking those two Raxes gone, the team invading, probably taking another tier 2 mid, or and then rolling all the way up to the first tier top tower and taking it. And we have some action going on in the Roshan pit going, hey guys, we're taking the Aegis from y'all.
Do you think the Radiant are in a position to contest this right now? I mean, assuming they have information about it, is it worth their time to try and cause a little trouble for the Dire here?
Oh yeah, you don't want to give up a free Aegis. But when that happens, you have one choice, which tends to be run like hell, and the Ember Spirit is telling his teammate to get back. You know, like that's the thing, you know. If you don't react fast enough and you notice it just a moment too late that the whole entire Dire team is missing and you're playing Radiant, you know, it can be a problem. You know, like this nullifier on this Night Stalker is going to be absolutely going to create havoc for the
Night
Timbersaw.
Stalker's items are really like nice for a, like in theory this guy's position 3, right?
Oh, he's definitely position 3.
Yeah, but he's got the full, he's got Radiance,
3.
Nullifier, BKB, little Vlad's Midas. Like, this is a nice, I mean, I haven't been watching Night Stalker too closely, but I mean, now that I'm looking at last hits as well. Oh, here's a nice fight. It looks like the Grimstroke Alt Doom combo is out. The Shrine is active for the Radiant here, and the Dire are just getting melted. Again, the Timbersaw damage is just too much. Night Stalker doing the best he can, activating every item in the game, but only able to secure the kill onto the Bane here, and now it looks like the Timbersaw will be able to clean him up along with help from the Ember and Grimstroke here.
Yeah.
Now, fighting next to the Shrine might have been not the best decision there. I don't know if that was really what made the difference in that fight, but it could not have been good.
No, it was not good at all. The Monkey King was up there trying to take the Shrine, while Night Stalker was murdering the top tower, the tier 2. And the Radiant smoked up, recognizing this play that the Dire was doing, so they went ahead and decided to go ahead and try to punish it.
And it looks like they're going to be able to probably get a Rax off of this. I don't know, it might be worth a buyback on the part of Night Stalker or Chaos Knight, but it seems like they're happy to let the Rax go. Oh.
The Night Stalker would have been, probably would have been worth it. The Chaos Knight would have not been.
Right.
Because, like, you gotta take a look at the timings as well and recognize, is that buyback worth it? And the Dire, they did the smart play there, which was, hey, let's go ahead and, you know, let them have the tier 3 and the Rax. You know, because if we try to contest it, we're going to lose heroes. Yeah. You have to let it go sometimes. And the Radiant recognized this and took advantage of it. The Dire, on the other hand, you know, they're just, right now, it kind of seems like they're drowning a little bit in their own success that they had so early on. It kind of seems like they're out of sync. Because the last few team fights that we've been watching, the Radiant have been taking it to them.
Yeah.
Oh, here comes a pause. Puppy pause. Turn off the door. We're having some keyboard issues. Turn off the keyboard and turn it back on. That's what I say, Mr. V. I don't know what my team is doing.
Yeah. You're absolutely right about these last few team fights. I've definitely noticed they're able to coordinate their Grimstroke ult combos much more reliably than they have earlier. I mean, sometimes in earlier fights it's been a problem. Bane or Grimstroke get just isolated by Night Stalker or Chaos Knight on the side and get killed before they're able to do anything impactful, but these last fights have been really. It looks like we might have like a.
Oh my Grimstroke has 2 mouses. Sorry, go. I'm done. Oh wait. What is? No, you were absolutely right. I mean, those team fights were fantastic on the Radiant side. The Dire was just like I'm saying, the Dire kind of feel like they are out of sync at the moment.
Maybe the reason the Grimstroke ult combos have been getting so much better, this guy started using a second mouse.
I need 2 mouses. Why? I'm ambidextrous. Okay, we get the point that you're ambidextrous, yeah, but why do you need 2 mice? So I can play better.
He's like left clicking his abilities and with like his one hand and left clicking targets with the other.
Let's see here. Where's the let's see, no. I don't want to do fantasy points, no. Gold per minute, net worth, current gold. Where's the graph? We have graphs in the middle of the game?
I've seen something like that. I have no idea how to display it.
That's scoreboard.
You know, if you list stats by fantasy points, Ember Spirit is in the lead with 21.4.
Yes, he is. 5x status.
Whatever that means.
It means really good amount of points, man.
Now this is really shocking. If you look at the net worth graph, I haven't seen it in a while. Night Stalker is on top. That's not what I would have expected.
With that Radiance, it helps with the farming and the Midas and stuff like that.
Right, yeah.
But man, that Radiance has been doing work for the team, but at the same time, it really hasn't. Because like the Radiance has been burning through the Ember Spirit's shield, the Flame Guard. Not to mention it takes away the regeneration of the Doom. But it doesn't seem like it's as effective as it should be, because those BKBs that the Radiant have, it's just nullifying it. Not to mention that the Night Stalker has a nullifier. I was just
informed that they're actually playing Night Stalker 1 in CK3, which makes a lot more sense given the... I mean, this is like maybe not an unorthodox build for Chaos Knight in general, maybe with the Blink, but Heart of Tarrasque BKB, even drums I've seen on Chaos Knight pretty often, but Chaos Knight 3, Night Stalker 1, what is that? Does that immediately, do you have any impression on that?
Well, my impression would have been a lot different. Because here's the thing, right? From my point of view, if you're going to go Midas, don't build a Radiance. If you're going to go Midas, build something else. If you're going to build a Radiance, don't build a Midas. Those two things shouldn't really go hand in hand. I mean, that's from my perspective, but what do I know? I'm a 2K player, you know, Archon 3, whatever. That's my perspective, but I've been playing Dota since like Dota 1, 2007, 2008. So, like, I've been going through so many patches that it just... I don't know. Like everybody plays their hero differently, and for me, like I like the nullifier choice. But knowing that he's a 1 instead of a 3, I would have told him, don't go for a nullifier. Go for an Abyssal Blade. I would have been telling him that because the Skull Basher would help with your natural attack speed. You can bash people to death, for the love of God, and not to mention that Abyssal Blade would be so useful against somebody else. But if you're being, you know, targeted out easily and stuff like that, that's something else. But you know, I can go ahead and sit here and criticize all I want, but at the end of the day, they're the ones that are playing, and they're the ones that they're making the decisions. They're also the ones who are in Divine and Immortal, and I'm sitting in Archon 3, and I'm like, hey guys.
They're
Can you
one
help me
of
with
these
my
guys
MMR?
was at rank 22 NA. I'm sure he signed off on this, so it's got to be legit. I
The
think that's
Monkey
a really
King.
good point about Abyssal played. Sorry,
yeah.
what were you gonna say?
Oh, I was saying, like, you know, you go for the Abyssal Blade before the Nullifier, or you gotta get the Abyssal Blade. You get the Skull Basher. And as I'm like looking at the Night Stalker, I realized, oh, he's getting a BKB because I had my mouse over the Mithril Hammer, but I didn't notice that my mouse was also over covering the Belt of Strength, and I'm like, that's a Skull Basher. I think he realized what I was saying. But, no. He probably had that queued up for a little while, though.
Yeah. Shouts out to Team UwU.
Team UwU already saw the future that I was just like, wait, what?
It's super useful against Ember Spirit and Timber, I think. And even, like, to a certain extent, Bane in order to disrupt. I mean, Night Stalker has pretty good methods of disrupting a channeled ability to begin with. But, yeah, you know, you can always use more, I guess. Void.
Yeah, you can use a Void to dispel that channeling spell. You use the Abyssal Blade. In these team fights, their main priority is Ember Spirit. Without a doubt, you got to go after the Ember Spirit. You can deal with the Timbersaw later, but you got to get rid of the Ember Spirit, and you got to keep an eye on the Bane. Those are the two heroes that you want to prioritize in this fight. In these fights, I know it sounds awful to say it, but those are the two that you really want to go after. You want to. I'm not saying you want to ignore, but you got to play spread out just far enough that the Grimstroke cannot be effective once he throws that ult. That Doom's coming out whether you like it or not. Unless you just jump on him and immediately Abyssal Blade him and he melts in 2 seconds. Which is going to be impossible. No one say impossible. Very unlikely considering the guy has an Assault Curious and a Shiva's Guard. It's going to be very difficult when you try to take down someone who has 40 armor, whose physical resistance is 74% more or less.
Yeah.
It's, let's see, 4.9 and 36. It is almost 51. Almost 41 armor. And he's level 23. So in like 2 levels, he's going to have over 42 armor, I believe, 43 armor. You know, you know, he's extremely tanky. He doesn't need a heart. But he already queued up the one thing that I thought would be very useful for the team, which is a Heaven's Halberd. Because, you know, you got the Spirit Breaker, you got that Night Stalker right in front of you. Use either of those for that. You use that on the Monkey King who doesn't have a Manta.
Exactly.
You know, it's a useful item. You know, a lot of people kind of overlook the Heaven's Halberd a lot. You know, usually you want the Timbersaw to go ahead and grab that item first. Or not that item first. Just grab that item because he's such a natural carrier for a Heaven's Halberd. It gives him the evasion that he needs to avoid physical attacks. It gives him the strength that he desperately needs. But at this point, you know, it's just like Timbersaw is kind of going for this like utility caster disabler build, which helps a lot.
Is an interesting pickup.
Well, the Dagon is a great pickup if you get it to level 3. You know, it's a great pickup if you can get it to level 3. Right now, it is level 1. You get it to level 3, your Grimstroke ulti somebody, that that person gets silenced. You go ahead and Dagon. You know, you throw your Chakram out, whatever, you know, and then that Doom coming and following. You know, those 2 heroes are poof, they're gone. You know. Now,
do you think? So I wonder though if they're, because on the Dire team they have a lot. Let's say, for example, Doom picks up a Heaven's Halberd, fight breaks out. Doom uses Heaven's Halberd on, let's say, Monkey King. Night Stalker, Spirit Breaker, Chaos Knight, they're still running around. They're still excellent Heaven's Halberd targets. I wonder if, so like, I see your reasoning behind the Dagon, but I wonder if a redundant Heaven's Halberd would not have been at least as useful. Because my understanding is you still have that interaction with Grimstroke ult, for example. But, I mean, you know, Night Stalker's sitting at 2.8k health. They're like BKB at the ready, BKB on the Chaos Knight, BKB on the Monkey King. Like, it's gonna be more difficult to stick Dagon than a Halberd, I think, on any of these targets, and I think the amount of work that the Dagon does compared to a potential Heaven's Halberd is kind of, I don't know, like, it seems like I definitely see your reasoning behind the pickup on Timbersaw here, but I don't know. I always feel like Dagon is such a greedy pick, you know. Like, I have this permanent like PTSD in pub games of seeing supports go like Ags Dagon or something like that when they could have gotten, you know, Timbersaw already got the Yules, already got the Lotus Orb for sure, but maybe as far as expanding Timbersaw's utility goes, there might have been better picks than the Dagon just yet. Like, that seems like a late game, like, I just have 6k gold, I don't know what to buy, like, might as well pick up a lightning rod.
Now, you know, your PTSD is overriding your senses here. No, I'm kidding. No, you have very valid reasons as to questioning the Dagon pick, right? Because if you hover over Timbersaw right now, he has level 1. His level 2 recipe is in the stash. He has enough gold to pick up a level 3. And like I'm saying, level 3 is what he needs to have right now. Right. But like we were saying before, the Heaven's Halberd really should be on the Timbersaw because he's the one that's going in. He's the one that's disabling heroes. He's the one that should be choosing out the priority targets to go ahead and be like, okay, I came in, I used the Grim, and I'm gonna go ahead and what am I saying? Use the Grim. I use the Dazzle. Okay, Grim, go do your thing. Grim uses ult. You know, let me go ahead and Heaven Halberd this other hero here. You know, it is what it is because the team really feels like more utility the better, right. Especially with the different heroes. And it's been working out for them for all these fights. You know, you just don't have one hero being all disables, having that extra Dagon, which is now level 2. And more intelligence for the Timber to go ahead and throw out his chakram and so forth. You know, it really, like, it's an odd item to pick up from a perspective of ours, but from their perspective, it makes sense. You know, it just synergizes like with the team.
The Timber already has these utility items. Getting more utility is kind of like putting all, like if Timber dies, for example, your team has much less utility available. Meanwhile, Doom has maybe more consistent damage, so going for a utility item kind of spreads the total amount of like utility options on your team away from just, oh, it's all on Timber and let's hope Bane and Grimstroke get a combo off kind of thing.
Yeah, you know, it really relieves a lot of the stress off of the players, especially if the Timbersaw is like, oh, I'm used to this kind of pressure, I'll go ahead and do this. And Timber is absolutely one of those heroes that you come to a realization that at the end of the day, he is super useful at everything he does. You know, he's extremely great at initiation. You put a Blink Dagger on him, your trouble's coming. You go ahead and put a Yules on him, it's going to be difficult to kill him. He's going to escape from you. Right. You put a Lotus Orb on him, it's just like, how the do you kill him? You know, he already has high health regen. You put a Crimson Guard on him. It's just like, okay, he is just one of those heroes that right now is going to be extremely problematic, no matter who you have. And you know, it's smart that the Night Stalker isn't buying out his item right now. And how much is the total for an Abyssal Blade? Maybe 66.50. Okay. And then Skull Basher, I think it should be. Yeah, it is a big ticket item.
Like 3K.
Yeah, but I think he has enough to go ahead and buy out the Skull Basher in full right now. But he could get his Vanguard. But what's the point of a Vanguard at this point? It's not that useful. It really isn't. You know, oh, nice health regen. Skull Basher, you could have stunned, you know, the heroes. You know, right now it kind of seems like these two teams are just like wandering and doing this little dance of avoiding each other while they farm because they're trying to get buybacks for everybody. You know,
yeah, they definitely seem very content to farm out and try and. I'm not really sure what either team's objective is here. I mean, I could see this farm kind of pattern go on for quite some time here. It doesn't seem like any one character and therefore any one team is so clearly in the lead that the obvious next move is like Roche then high ground for them right now.
Mm-hmm. Like this is a very close contested game, even though there's a 5-kill difference. And how many tower difference here? Let's say 1 tower positive. No, no, towers are even, except for
even
racks.
The goal difference, like 2K at 45 minutes is pretty. That's like fairly close. That's like
neck
down to
and neck.
1K. I mean, yeah,
it is extremely neck and neck. You know, these bounty runes is what's going to make the difference for the teams in terms of net worth. You know, because like if you don't pick up these bounty runes, you're going to be falling behind relatively quick. That's 131 gold for each person on the team. That's 500k. 500k. That's 500 plus gold. So that's 655 more or less, if I did my math right. But like you were saying, like Roshan isn't up just yet. Both teams know this, so you're kind of like in the standoff portion of the game right now, where whoever makes the first move may be the one to regret it. Let's see here. Look at this level 4 Dagon. He can go ahead and get his level 5 recipe, but that would mean he have no buyback. Let's see who else has buyback still.
After the it's gonna be.
Ooh.
Oh man, why can't Guardian Greaves after that?
Oh gosh, who's getting the Guardian's Greaves?
Timbersaw, I believe.
Oh yeah, yeah, he's going after the
level 5. I mean,
yeah. It would work out better for him to get the level 5 Dagon right now. There, you know, Radiant's still checking out on the Roshan, making sure no one's in there or the Roshan's not there. It's these lulls in the game where you kind of sort of question everything that the teams are doing, because it's so difficult to figure out what are they doing. You know, some people would just go, okay, they're just farming up, they're just farming. Yeah, well, yeah, of course they're farming. You don't want to stand idle and for 5 minutes and then Valve be like, hey, instant disconnect, this guy got an abandon in the middle of a private lobby game. Let's see here. Team UwU is over there on the dire side trying to figure out what they are going to do. And you got, you know, the monks on the Radiant side just trying to keep the lanes pushed in as much as they can and try to defend this Roshan. They identified what they want. They want the Roshan. They identified that they need to keep these lanes pushed out so they can go ahead and take advantage of the pushed lanes so they can get that Roshan. You know, from the untrained eye for most, you know, Herald players, these guys aren't doing things randomly. They're not sticking around. They're pushing out lanes. And they're defending their objective. And right now their objective that they want to defend is a Roshan, which is up. I think the Dire is recognizing this. And they found the Roshan. Hi guys, I'm walking out. Where's the party at?
Yeah, now both do the Dire have any vision down here? Do you think they saw that? I mean, it's one thing to be aware of that the Radiant are generally in the area, but it's another thing for them to realize that Roche is back up and that now the Radiant are going to be looking to move into it.
Yeah, the Dire went ahead and pointed out that they went ahead and just like, okay, I think these guys are going for the Roshan because the Night Stalker was over there and they saw that they didn't have exact vision on the pit, seeing the Roshan coming out, being like, who wants to party? But the Dazzle went and did the safe warding spot. It was important that if he went further than this point where the ward is at, where this ward is at, if he went further than this, that line right there, Dazzle would have been in a lot of trouble where he was when he was warding, because he had 2 Radiant heroes waiting to pounce on him. And as I'm saying that, guess what happens?
Oh here we go, and it looks like Grimstroke might get taken out before he's able to get any abilities out. Same even for the Doom somehow. This guy had all that armor, but it's not going to end up coming in handy. And on the far side of the fight, Spirit Breaker, once again, not even going to die yet. The Grave is out on him, and mass buybacks here for the Radiant team. It looks like into the shrine and activating it, and Spirit Breaker's the first to go down. There's a Bane ult down on the Chaos Knight, and Chaos Knight, that's a beautiful grave. It looks like Night Stalker's going down here, and the Dazzle able to grave the Chaos Knight. No, he's dead as well. The buybacks majorly paid off here for the Radiant now. Monkey King is the only player up, and mass buybacks for the Dire. They realized their base was in danger, and do you think now the Radiant are gonna be able to take this Roche, or...
No, it wasn't the base that was in danger. It was the game that was in danger at this point. They recognized if they all did not buy back, Team Monk was going to go into that Roshan, grab that Roshan, get the Aegis, and march straight up middle with no way of stopping it. If they didn't buy back at that moment, because the Radiant was a little hesitant to go into the Roshan.
Right.
You know, of course their base is exposed, but the push from the Radiant side is only up to this point right here.
Yeah, it was definitely not at the throne or anything.
No, it was nowhere near the throne. If it was at the throne, I would understand all of them going, hey, we need to do this, we need to stop that. But that wasn't the case. The case was they had no more vision over Roshan. All they had was this, was nothing, and they were afraid.
As far as the Dire are concerned, that just translates to, well, they're probably doing Roche. That's too much of an advantage, perhaps.
It was too much for them to risk it, to not buy back, and go for that Roche, and contest it if they were doing it. That's why they bought back immediately, and they were TPing over towards Roshan as fast as they could.
And so it seems like these teams are kind of, they've reset almost in a way. They're back to this kind of dancing around Roche, trying to not be the first team to make a move. Now, do you think though that both teams had a lot of buybacks in this last fight? I mean, is this reason for the teams to play a little more passively for the next 7 minutes, try and not risk 2-minute long death timers on the next Roche fight, or do you expect one of these teams to just make a bold play and go for the Roche, see what happens?
Okay, so the Dire has 1 buyback, the Radiant have 2. Well, it's a little difficult to see where their mindset is at right now, but the Radiant, I believe, are very content in doing a methodical, slow game, and force the Radiant, force the Dire to make mistakes. When it comes down to the net worth and the gold lead, it's in the favor of the Dire, even though the Dire bought back, and that's the power of the Midas and Radiance.
Smoke here. They might catch this Monkey.
They're trying to. Oh my lord! Bye bye. Yep, they forced that buyback out. Now the Radiant have the massive advantage. They have the massive advantage now. Now they're forcing the Dire to go ahead and make the choice right now. Do you let us have a free Roshan, or do you come in and contest it knowing your Monkey King has no buyback no more? Not to mention, if he dies, it's going to be over 2 minutes. Or close to it.
Radiant team, I mean, they don't... I feel like the Dire team would do a much quicker Roche than the Radiant team. The Radiant team are almost, it seems like, trying to beat the fight.
Oh no, the Radiant had a good idea.
This is interesting.
And I thought they were setting up a bait. I thought they were setting up a bait so they can go ahead and ambush him.
Yeah, I don't know why they kind of gave up on that idea, and now it seems like they're going to pay for it.
It seems like it. There's no trees. There's no trees for the Timbersaw to go on. Oh god, now they just realized their mistake.
Like, sit here and watch this. No, it's far too late.
Oh wow, I mean, that's smoke.
That's very... And now the Monkey King ult. Wow, that range is massive with the talent.
Yep, level 25, but it's not going to be much.
Monkey King goes down with the Aegis already. Looks like some kind of a stun coming out here. A lot of BKBs. It's very difficult for Bane to find a good target here, and Timbersaw just gets beaten down. Spirit Breaker manages to charge away, but not enough to survive. And now there's a 1v1 fight, it seems, happening between Doom and Monkey King. Grimstroke is getting involved, but gets quickly beaten down by the CK and the Night Stalker. Ember Spirit getting involved. Bane finally able to lock the Fiend's Grip in, and Chaos Knight kind of unsure what to do about that. And meanwhile, Doom and Ember Spirit, they don't manage to secure the kill on the Monkey King, and Monkey King is now coming back in here, and this is a very bold play, but it might work out. Monkey King very low, rooted and disarmed. Very low health, incredibly low health, finally dies. Doom still alive, but not for long.
Oh,
and
these plays.
Night Stalker finally down. And this is, it's all on Chaos Knight. He's so slow.
Yep. There was only one way for him to get out. He had to Lotus Orb himself and TP home. If he died right then and there, it was absolutely guaranteed game over for the Dire. Because there's no way you're gonna stop an Ember Spirit from pushing into your base with an exposed Rax. No way.
And I don't even know what to say. I mean I mean I would have assumed fight would go in the Dire's advantage just because they were able to take the Roach and they basically lost nothing for it. They got pretty nice Monkey King ult to fight within, and they were able to prevent the Bane from at least ulting any significant targets for very long into the fight, but it just took so long for them to kill the Doom, and I don't even understand where the Ember Spirit came into the fight, but by the time I noticed him in there active, he was doing all kinds of damage. They were able to separate the Monkey King from the main body of the fight. It went pretty well in the Radiant's favor, all things considered. They got the Aegis off. I lost track of the cheese as well.
Oh, the cheese was on the Night Stalker, if I wasn't mistaken.
I see.
Yeah, because
it looks like they got the cheeses.
Yeah, because like the cheese was on the Night Stalker. He was about to die to the Ember Spirit. Then he activated the cheese, which led to the Ember Spirit dying for him to buy back and then come back into the fight.
Is that what happened? Because I lost track of the Ember Spirit, and then suddenly there he was again. I just assumed, you know, there was some kind of a remnant teleport into a return to the fight or something. But I guess Ember Spirit's buyback is no, it's still off cooldown or on cooldown for another 22 seconds. I think he's just like maneuvering, man, just like making wild plays.
Maybe I can't remember because I remember him dying or someone dying. This is like, or I was
these fights are so
no, I was
fast,
thinking
like
he was about to die. There we go. Yeah, something I don't know, but at this point, you just oh gosh, I don't want to be there. If I was Grimstoke, I want to be gone. I want to be home right now.
That was
team,
a pretty nice
team, save me.
Grimstroke just gets melted.
Oh.
Spirit Breaker goes down soon, and now it looks like Night Stalker's on the chopping block. Monkey King ult gets Hex disrupted, and the ult comes back, and it might be a little too late, though. He's at half health, all kinds of BKBs going down. Looks like Timbersaw is going to get out in one piece. Doom is at half health. Ember Spirit dies to Monkey King auto attacks.
But he has buyback.
At this point, the amount of armor I think that Timbersaw and Doom are bringing to these fights are just like the key to their survival. There's so much physical damage on the Dire team that, you know, heroes like Bane and Grimstroke just get absolutely annihilated. 4 or 5 auto attacks at this point in the game. Meanwhile, Doom is just kind of sitting in the middle of it, not caring.
Did you see how the Spirit Breaker went from full health to dead in like in less than a second? He melted.
Yeah.
He absolutely melted. He got surrounded by a few heroes. He's like, oh shit. And then boom, gone, dead, murdered. Please come back another time.
And like Spirit Breaker isn't even that squishy. 1800 health. I mean, Dazzle has more health actually. Maybe I spoke too soon.
Well, Dazzle is level 23 and Spirit Breaker is level 21.
Yeah.
So, bit of a difference there. But Doom even ate the Frost Armor creep. You know, that's actually a really good point to point out. because that frost armor, jeez, frost armor's your friend. You know, it's just like, not to mention this Monkey King has a refresher orb, and it looks like he's trying to get a moon. What is it? Moonstone? No.
I think so. Moonshard.
Moonshard.
Yeah, it's probably just to eat it.
Why am I saying Moonstone? I am
think
so
they'll
hungry
replace
right now.
Lincoln Sphere with it.
Lincoln Sphere, Moonshard. I mean, like this Monkey King is going to be very difficult to deal with once he gets the Moonshard, because that thing's just good. He's just gonna just whack things to death real fast.
Definitely.
It'll be like whack, whack, whack.
He's remained on top of the net worth with admirable consistency. I mean,
he's been trying to. Like the Night Stalker at some point overtook him. The Ember was at top, and then Ember died, and the Monkey King's like, I took over. This is my spot. I am the king of the mountain. You know, it's just like all over the place, man. Like, it's just ridiculous.
And the net worth difference is still so small. Like, for 60 minutes in, this game is remarkably even-keeled still.
More or less. The Radiant have a 4K lead advantage, but, like, man, that's just because of the fact that, like, the Ember Spirit just, like, shot up through the net worth, and so did the Timbersaw. Because they were idling, like, in the upper mid bracket for a little while, and then they just, like, went, yoink, we'll take the top 2 of the 3 spots. You know, it's just like, oh boy.
Yeah, meanwhile,
I'm trying to keep up with this
7K.
Ember right now. Like, this Ember is just like, he is on a different level in terms of trying to figure out what items he needs to do to get around the Monkey King, around the Night Stalker, to murder the rest of the teammates. And his choice of the Octarine Core is fantastic.
Oh,
no.
Speaking of the Night Stalker, though, with a lot of stuns, wow, that was a pretty brutal confrontation, actually.
See? The Abyssal Blade showed up. Now he has a Satanic. He no longer has Radiance. You know, it's, not to mention he has a Shadow Blade now? Oh, interesting. You gotta switch it up sometimes, you know?
I imagine to break the Timbersaw, like eventually he'll get a Silver Edge, perhaps. But I really don't know. Maybe just for an escape as well. Yeah.
I think it's mainly mainly for ganking, because you know you gotta, you know, you got a Night Stalker that's like, I'm gonna murder everyone. You know, because like that's his job. He has to murder people. You know, I like the Radiance in the beginning, but as time wears on, like, it wasn't looking too good. It wasn't going to be as effective. Oh, they're going for this.
Well, nice zoning ult here. I think this tower is... I mean, I don't know where the creep wave is. But this tower is probably not long for this world.
Oh, they're trying to see... They baited out the...
There's that tag on. The sheep, here. Are we going to see a Doom, perhaps? Or a disengage from the Dire?
Yeah, if I was Doom and I see a Lotus Orb, I am not dooming that thing. I am dooming him later. Because it's just like... I remember playing one game where I had a Lotus Orb. I kept telling everybody, let me Lotus Orb you, because we're playing against a Doom. Because that Doom is stupid. So, leading into like one of the key team fights in that game, Lotus Orbed my carry, and the Doom just like blinks out of nowhere and decides to still doom the carry that had Lotus Orb for like 2 seconds. And he doomed the carry anyways, and I'm just like, oh no. I was just like, wow. I couldn't believe it.
Maybe Doom had graphics turned off, and he missed the large red reflective sphere surrounding your carry.
I don't even want to know, man. It's just like, oh boy. Yep. The Radiant still, they stuck to their strategy. They're trying to do objectives at this point. They're going for the Roshan right now.
Oh, hey,
and the Dire is recognizing this. The Dire is recognizing this. And one of the things that's tipping off that they are at the Roshan is Ember Spirit is not split pushing. You know, it was already too late. He needed to stay out in the lanes to keep split pushing and having other people come here and recognize that the Roshan is... Oh, there we go.
Their Roshan, the Radiant Roshan is so slow. I mean, they were there for, I don't know, maybe a minute, maybe 45 seconds, and they barely did. It looks like, you know, a fourth of Roshan's health here.
Yeah, more or less a fourth.
That.
Oh, here comes a ballsy play
Maybe
from the Ember Spirit.
Here. Ember Spirit's like pretty far ahead and doesn't have rev
he has
for this
double damage.
King. Double damage is pretty nice. And the
got
interrupted. Oh, here we go with the Grimstroke ult. This is what they were looking for now. And Chaos Knight gonna activate the ult and start going to work. Monkey King probably gonna die. The Grave is not enough, and now Chaos Knight is kind of alone here. Dazzle doing his best. It looks like Doom did indeed doom someone who was Loadsword. There is a Spirit Breaker going 1v3 against Grimstroke, at 1v4 now against Doom, Grimstroke, and Bane. It turned out about as you'd expect, and Monkey King is back into action, trying to ult down, see what they can do about this Doom. Doom is able to get out of the ult in one piece, comes and finds Night Stalker just pounding Bane with the right clicks, and it is Night Stalker nighttime. Monkey King activates the refresher and a second ult down. Now this is really what Grimstroke did not need to see. Grimstroke goes down, Doom goes down, unable to leave the area here. Bane has bought back. It looks like mid lane though for the Radiant is pushed all the way up to the throne, and now it's Ember Spirit versus Chaos Knight for base defense here. Ember Spirit getting a little bit of cheeky damage on the bot tier 3, while the Timbersaw fights Night Stalker, and Timbersaw and Doom fight Night Stalker and Monkey King at the Roche Pit. Monkey King able to pick up Arcane Rune here. Ember Spirit gets involved as well, and Monkey King just dies. Bane is here, and Grimstroke makes 5. That's the end of it for Night Stalker, and suddenly Chaos Knight is the only member of the Dire team alive right now. Meanwhile, the entire Radiant team is alive and well. 3 buybacks expended on it. Night Stalker's buying back as well. It looks like a Lotus Orb Hex is going to get this base defense started here. Chaos Knight hexed again. And now Doom just going in. A lot of crowd control on this Chaos Knight. Ember Spirit here to back him up. It looks like the Grimstroke ult is down now. A double disarm on these melee heroes. Grimstroke trying to silence the Night Stalker, keeping him on the edge of the fight here, and meanwhile Spirit Breaker goes down. Doom, BKB attacking the Chaos Knight, and it looks like Chaos Knight's gonna die, and that's a nice buyback. Dazzle is gonna die, and no buyback available there. Night Stalker gets caught again, 4v1. It looks like the Grimstroke is actually gonna go down here. Night Stalker, plenty of lifesteal, but not enough Chaos Knight. Lotus Orbed up, but the damage is gonna be there. And Night Stalker as well, that's the end. Dire, that's all 5 Dire down, no buyback. What what just happened?
What just happened?
Kaolin Monks.
Yep, Kaolin Monks is just what happened.
Kaolin Monks just happened. Wow, yeah, that was that really, I mean, what a
like it started going downhill the moment the Night Stalker wasn't able to do anything at nighttime. Was just not able to do anything. You know?
It seemed almost like there was maybe a miscommunication or something on Team UwU. Night Stalker and Monkey King, that's their one of their two. They were in the Roche Pit while Chaos Knight was. I mean, I'm not sure how Ember Spirit got from bot tier 3 to the Roche Pit, but Night Stalker and Monkey King ended up fighting 2 or 3, eventually 4 in all 5 of the enemy team. And they had no support. They just had a lot of damage, but they fell victim to all of the lockdown that the Kaolin Monks were bringing to the fight.
Yeah. You know, it was, oh boy. I mean, it really seemed like the...